Welcome to The Late Show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. First of all, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. First of all, happy National Day of Prayer.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
You know, I don't know why it's just one day. Because every morning since the election, I wake up and scream, "Oh, dear God."
We need a year.
Do something. And Trump's talked today in the Rose Garden or the National Prayer Breakfast. He talked today about how important faith is to other people.
I want to thank Vice President Mike Pence and Karen for joining us. Very special people. Thank you very much. We are truly blessed to have a Vice President and a Second Lady who believe in the power of prayer and the glory of God. And they do believe. I'm with them a lot. They believe. Good.
They won't shut up about it. I'm with them a lot. I'm breathing in secondhand prayer all the time. Okay? I am in what's called the holy water splash zone. I need a poncho. But Trump might want to start praying himself because he's got some problems. And we'll cover just some of them tonight in Stormy Watch. No idea what this means. And it's not just a storm this time, it's Hurricane Rudy. Last night, Hurricane Rudy made landfall on Fox News. And Trump may have to declare himself a disaster area. Because here's the situation. Remember Michael Cohen, president's personal lawyer? Okay, Cohen paid Stormy Daniels $130,000 right before the election. And both Trump and Cohen have denied that Trump knew anything about the payment or paid Cohen back in any way. It was simply an act of charity. That charity, the American Society for the Protection of Horny Billionaires. In the arms of a porn star. They have both stressed for months that Trump never reimbursed Cohen. So, legal giant Rudy said this.
I'm giving you a fact now that you don't know. It's not campaign money. No campaign finance violation. So
they funneled it through a law firm.
Funneled through a law firm, and the president repaid it.
Rudy, you're not helping. I got this. Officer, you can't accuse my buddy here of speeding. He was way too drunk to do that. I don't understand why he would do this. I know not to do that. I'm not a lawyer, and I know not to do that.
Why are you going to use the word funnel?
Didn't Rudy see Trump on Air Force One?
President, did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? Then why did Michael Cohen make it if there was no truth around the payment?
You have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
No, I don't know.
Between Cohen and Trump, one of these two men is lying. And it's both of them. How is it that Trump knew nothing about this payment, but somehow reimbursed Cohen anyway? Rudy had a theory.
When I heard Cohen's retainer of $35,000, when he was doing no work for the president, I said, that's how he's repaying. That's how he's repaying it, with a little profit and a little margin for paying taxes for Michael.
What he's trying to ship here is the idea that Cohen gets $35,000 a month from Trump, and out of that, he deducts all the hush money he pays. It's all the porn stars you want to silence for one low monthly fee. Cohen calls his service Net Chicks. Then, Net Chicks? Yeah.
That's what he called it?
Yes. And it comes with streaming. Then, sorry, no, Alexa, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. That's Net Chicks. Then a visibly shaken, a shattered to his core Sean Hannity tried to point out the looming iceberg in front of the SS Trump-tanic, but Rudy said, full steam ahead.
Do you know the president didn't know about this? I believe that's what
He didn't
Michael
know
had
about
said.
the specifics of it, as far as I know. But he did know about the general arrangement that Michael would take care of things like this, like I take care of things like this for my clients. I don't burden them with every single thing that comes along. These are busy people.
Yes, they're busy and getting busy with porn stars. And Giuliani went on Fox and Friends this morning to explain the payment in even more damaging ways.
It had nothing to do with the campaign. It was a personal matter, personal reasons. It wasn't for the campaign. However, imagine if that came out on October 15th, 2016, in the middle of the last debate with Hillary Clinton.
So, there's something kind of admirable about being that bad of a liar. Your Honor, I had no reason to burn down my warehouse, but I'll tell you what, that insurance money saved my ass. Now, when Trump heard about Rudy's gaffe, he said, okay, let's go with that. Mr. Cohen, an attorney, received a monthly retainer, not from the campaign, and having nothing to do with the campaign, from which he entered into, through reimbursement, a private contract between two parties known as a non-disclosure agreement, or NDA. These agreements are ... very common among celebrities and people of wealth. Hold on. I'm a celebrity and a people of wealth, and I don't have any NDAs, and if I did, I couldn't tell you because I paid myself off. Now, Trump tweeted on, in this case, it is in full force and effect and will be used in arbitration for damages against Miss Clifford Daniels. The agreement was used to stop the false and extortionist accusations made by her about an affair, ... despite already having signed a detailed letter admitting there was no affair. Prior to its violation by Miss Clifford and her attorney, this was a private agreement. Money from the campaign or campaign contributions played no role in this transaction. Yes, role. He must have been really hungry when he typed this. Look, there was no roll, no biscuit, not even cornbread. You can't. I mean, cornbread's usually free. Like you say, no roll, my crimes are gluten-free. Trump is claiming that he paid Cohen a monthly fee to hush up all the affairs he wasn't having. So that means anyone can just say they have an affair with Donald Trump and leave with 130 grand. In that case, I had sex with Donald Trump. Yeah. It's gonna come out eventually. Yeah.
You did it?
I had sex, and I don't mean love, it was dirty dog. And sure, like all the other accusations, it's not true, but what a terrible time for it to come out, John.
Yeah, I know.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
This would be, what would it do?
It would ruin everything.
Right now when he's fighting all these other accusations? If it broke that I also had sex with Donald Trump, what would you imagine?
It would ruin everything, man.
Yeah.
It'd be over.
Yeah,
It'd
blow
be done.
everybody's mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It'd be like,
And remember how Trump's defense against charges of obstruction of justice is totally linked to the idea that the firing of Comey had nothing whatsoever to do with the Russia investigation. There's no obstruction because the firing had nothing to do with the investigation. Maestro, if you please.
He fired Comey because Comey would not, among other things, say that he wasn't a target of the investigation. Well, he fired him, and he said, I'm free of this guy.
Sir, firing the guy because he won't announce you're not the target of the investigation is illegal. That's obstruction of justice 101, which I believe was a class they offered at Trump University. And Hannity also asked about something Comey said about Hillary Clinton.
He said today, or yesterday, Comey, he said Hillary deeply respects the rule of law. Comey said that.
Wow. Well, this is a very perverted man.
No. Giuliani's right. Comey is one sick perv. I hear he gets off on blind chicks who hold up scales. We got a great show for you tonight. Charlize Theron is here. But when we return, I talk about our old friend, Cocaine Mitch McConnell.